Well, I got the MTD standing straight up and down on some kickstands here, and starting to cut everything out and mount up the new suspension. The plan is to run a mono link with a panhard bar to a new front axle. I'll show you the new front axle later, but I cut off the clutch lever because the new steering, their steering is right behind that bolt right there. That new steering is going to drop down past there. It's going to come down underneath the 5/8 rod there. So I have to cut it off, move it over a couple inches, but so I already got that cut off, cleaned up. And over here, I did a video very long time ago, probably over a year and a half ago, about how to brace your frame, and I got this 1x1 going all the way to the back, and the leaf spring mounts were welded there, and they were also welded there, just 2 bars. So I'm gonna move that back past the steering, which is right there. So probably an inch past the steering. I've been cleaning up the side here so I can weld that a lot better, because when I did it, the overhead welding really sucked. So now I got stand straight up, and now it'll be a lot easier. But I'm gonna weld all that up solid, and then I got some 1x1 right there, and it's pretty thick stuff. And I'll weld a little frame. I'll weld the monolink ball to a plate, and weld that plate to the frame, and then weld the frame into that piece there. But this is the monolink. This part will be welded to the frame, the plate there, and then this piece pivots with the axle links itself, and I'll just have a big bolt going through it. I machined this from 1 inch to 7/8, and then it has a 3/8 hole all the way through it, so it's pretty some beef stuff. So I'll get back to you guys when I got the frame all made up. Okay, so this is what I came up with for the frame. This is the mono link that I'm using. This is pretty much the rod end. It flexes when the axle like that, and then it turns, you know, just rolls back and forth when the axle goes up and down. So I took this 1x1 and I cut it. I cut some of this. This is only about 4 inches wide and 13 inches long, 13 1/4. And then I took this 1/4 inch plate and cut out this section here, plenty of room to weld it on. Got this here to hug that's going to be welded to this, so that's really solid. It gives me more of a base to weld to this plate. So I'll weld that in, and I'll weld this both sides. I got these little gussets that I'll hold on to that just like that. So that's pretty beef. And then once that's all done, I can take that and then stuff it back under there, and should work out pretty good. Okay guys, now that we got the furnace going, I got the thing all welded up here, some pretty heavy duty stuff. Here's the frame, that's all welded up, and then I got the uniball, the monolink there, that's all really good, welded up, and it's all at a 1/4 inch, as I said. I gotta cut that little part off there, but just to make it look better. But that's all solid on there. So I'm gonna take this, measure it up, and then put it up into the chassis there. I've already grinded down. I like this little LED. I laid some beads. Can't really see it. I laid some beads there, just to kind of strengthen this all back up, where I'm putting the frame. Just getting these 1x1 pieces a little bit stronger to the sheet metal panhard, you know, what MTD's known for, their garbage frames. So mine's pretty good. Mine's got some good rigidity in it, and I don't think that's going to be breaking anytime soon. So let's get that all back up, and then I think that I guess we can lower this back down or something. I'm not sure. I haven't really planned that far ahead. Alright, so next part here is the mono link, how this is going to hook up to the links itself, and I took the piece I turned on the lathe and I cut out these 1/4 inch pieces to match it. And I got these spacers so the uniball or the mono link rides right there, it doesn't slide back and forth at all. And then that's welded to a piece of angle iron, and then the two links are going to come in at an angle, and I'm going to weld there, weld here, and probably have a plate on the bottom just for the two that kind of Y off like that. And then over here we got the rear wheels that used to be on there, and I'd take the rim and I cut the sides off and use a center and then weld the center on. Well, I obviously cut that out and then cut all the welds and then grind it all flush. It took a very long time, but I got that all done. These got a little bit of an offset to it. See that? So these are going to be the front tires actually, and I got new rear tires and I got new rear rims. They're also 10-inch rims, so I'll have 10-inch rims all the way around. And I'll be doing the same thing, cutting the center disc out, but instead I'm using the new front rims off that, and these are 4-on-4 like I showed you. So that can just bolt right up to those, and just kind of looking at how the axle is going to match up and everything. But uniball and the links to that, and then a panhard bar. So once I get the tires on, I can determine where the axle is going to be sitting. Then I got to get it all perfect and everything, make my links up, and then I can start working on a panhard bar. Well, here it is. They're all welded up. Just ran a couple of beads, and these things fit pretty perfect, if I do say so myself, with the lug nut in the outside of the rim there. So yeah, so these spin really good. Just rubbing on some of that, but yeah, these bearings are amazing. Anyways, so I mounted the front axle up actually. I ran it to that piece I made, and these are just some pipe that welded in really good. Shouldn't be going anywhere. I'm going to be running some bars from down there to up there. I just got to notch them, and it's going to be all finicky, but I've been working on this, which is the track bar. You can see the mount on this side. I took advantage of the previous mount for the hydraulic steering ram, and yeah, so this is probably the ride height I'm shooting for, which is about 3 inches, I would say, of travel up to there. But there's the belt for the winch, so I need to put some bump stops in there. So that doesn't really bother me. I don't really need a whole bunch of travel up and down. And a little bit would help, but so there's a track bar. I'll go around to the other side and show you the track bar over there. This right here. That's all I did was just shorten this up, cut it, drill a new hole for the cotter pin and the castle nut, and then I made this mount on this side, and that just welds right to the frame. I'll probably put a little artistic notch into that because it'll look a lot better. But there you can see the square tubing I used to extend this old ATV tie rod. And that goes right into that, bolts it all up, put a cotter pin through it, and then you got your full track bar, which clears the bumper, and it clears all that really good, so it's not in the way of anything. I'm trying to figure a way out how to get this up higher. I can't just flip it on top because the actual tie rod end is tapered shaft, so when I remove these I need a sickle or whatever, not a sickle but a fork, the way you remove ball joints, to pop these out. It's that automotive, so I'm gonna have to cut. I'm probably thinking about cutting here and then welding some sort of square tubing, bring the bar up more because it's definitely gonna get smashed on some rocks if it's down here this far, so probably move it up whatever the axle allows, but I'll see about that. Some more future stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna get this track bar bolted up, and then I'll probably do a couple of clearance testing, put it on all fours, and maybe flex it out a little bit. So that's about all the flex I'm getting out of it. You can see that it's about 17 inches from the floor to the tire, and not too many, absolutely no clearance issues, but I have a problem with that panhard bar mount when it flexes out this way if I want to move this tie rod up. So I might have to drill a new hole, move that up, and then I can flip the bar here up so I have more ground clearance. Yeah, just a couple problems. I guess there's only one problem really when I want to modify this stupid thing. So I guess it's on to the steering. I'm going to pull the steering shaft out and then start modifying the U-joint. Come down to the front axle here.